Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2022. Hopefully, you can hear me well. Let me know if you can hear and see me well. As usual, I'm a little earlier. I see there's a lot of you already waiting. So the title of the live stream is Has Bank of America Helped Rig the Silver Price Since March 2020? So what I will say about proving these things, it's very difficult. We can only look at the data and the information and speculate on it, but hopefully it will help you see what's going on. We're going to wait, of course, for more people to come on. Wait till 9 o'clock to start looking at this. I see there's a lot of you here. Silver Task, moderator, thank you. Pad is here. Pablo Pina, Alan Zibelman is here. Marty Carew, Benjamin Segal, Ad Morgan, Dennis Swanson, Jared Smith. Thank you very much, everyone. We are in our, I guess, 6th year. I started late 2015 making these videos. So yeah, it's gone by very quickly, and we've built a pretty good community, I think. And I'd like to thank all of you guys for your support. Yeah, Billy, he got on the sofa. He turned around and he wanted to lie down that way. So I left him. He's doing well. Jonathan Marsh, Cheshire Yeoman is here. JP Millward, Mark W, Juan Crespo, Mr. B. Hi, Mr. B. Belly Dance Radio. Do you mean Bank of China? No, Bank of Canada. Bank of America, actually. Bank of America. I didn't play golf today. I played golf New Year's Eve, and yeah, on the 31st. I didn't play golf today. I cleared the leaves in the garden today. They needed some clearing off, and I also verdoned the grass. I used the weedall to kill the weeds and the moss. Silver Task has been watching since the start. Thank you, Ann Sanderson. She says, Happy New Year to you and your family. Same to you. I will try to greet all of you as much as I can. BOE and the manipulating. Well, I think the LBMA and Comex, these banks probably use, I would say Bank of America, they have a London office. They probably do a lot of the manipulation and the trading from here as well. They use probably both Comex and the LBMA. Sean Cavell, you're the first vids I watch every morning, AM before work. Thanks for the truth. You're welcome, Sean. I try to do my research and try to help, try to look at things and see what's going on. Judy McKee from Florida. Brady Girding, Mary should have people for that. I don't mind. My wife and I like gardening, so there you go. Oh, we've got Victor Alexikish from Macedonia, from the Balkans. Nice to see you. How to keep a strong mindset for 2022? I think the net could continue to tighten around people with our views on the. I agree. All you need, I think we just have to hold the line and stay strong and stay positive and not be fearful. Yeah. Mark W, thank you for your super chat. and you're welcome. Stray Dog at Play from California. Hi, Stray Dog. So we've got a few more minutes. Well, we got plenty of time actually. But before I start, I like to give some people credit for this subject because I hadn't really looked at the situation with the silver position, the derivatives position for Bank of America. And I was listening recently to, and I'll share this with you guys, and I highly recommend also this channel. I've been following David Morgan for many years. He has silver-investor.com, but lately he's been doing some really good videos. And this video here with John Perez, who I highly recommend as well, the Crypto Conspiracy episode 12 from 2 days ago. This is what woke me up to this situation in silver, because John Perez actually talked about the fact that Ted Butler had written about the situation at Bank of America and their silver derivatives. So I highly recommend people subscribe to the Morgan Report. He's had some interesting guests on, and I will come to the article from Butler. I'll give him the credit also for looking at this, and it's from his article that I started looking a little deeper into things, and I'm sure he's looked deep into it as well. Lord Humongous says, Mario, is Prince Andrew hiding? Maxwell looking at 65 years in the slammer. I don't know what Prince Andrew's up to. I saw someone, a friend of mine, sent me a picture. It's like a joke, and it's Prince Andrew and the Queen looking out the window, and the Queen says to Prince Andrew, "Don't worry, it's just an Amazon delivery," because he must be worried. Victor Alexic says it's all about no more oil and gas for Europe. Is this there are new alliance, USA, Russia, and China? Well, Europe has been buying gas from the US though in the last couple of weeks because the prices are skyrocketing here. They have come off in the last few weeks. It has warmed up a little bit, but I don't think it's over, the inflation, the rising prices. Coin Fisher, any truth to new currency? I haven't heard anything about a new currency. Dark Horse says Bitcoin will back the new digital dollar. I don't think so, to be honest. I wouldn't want to run for president. Well, I'm not an American, so I couldn't run. Anyway, I could run in Brazil next year. I have a Brazilian passport, but I'd never want to be president, really. Chris Cabrera, greetings from Montreal. Nice to see you here. So yeah, we got another 3 minutes. We'll wait for more people to come on. And I haven't really spoken too much about silver. Well, I do every day talk about gold and silver, where they are and stuff. But yeah, I think the last day of trading, it was Friday, gold and silver actually did quite well. We closed the year on a good note. But we're going to look at the fact that look at Bank of America and what they've been doing in the silver market. And this is all the notes I took about Bank of America, what they've been doing. I will share some screens as well. Over here, what is the approximate cost to mine gold and silver today? I think gold is about $1,200 an ounce, maybe a little more. I'm not sure. It depends on the mine, doesn't it? And silver, to be honest, I don't know, but silver is still highly undervalued anyway. But and the thing about silver, there aren't too many pure silver mines. A lot of silver comes from mining for other metals like base metals, even gold. The worm Isaiah 4114. Hi Mary, let's go Boris. Well, here in the UK, they're saying something even more rude, more rude about Boris Johnson at football games. And by football, I mean soccer. Americans call it soccer. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Will H. All right, 9 o'clock. So yeah, what's the point then of finding out? Yeah, it's not a shock. Maybe that Bank of America has been increasing their short positions, and I think it's helped keep the price of silver from breaking out in the last year and a half. And despite all the paper silver they've thrown at the market, silver is still looking quite good. It didn't have a great year last year. That's 2021. And a lot of people were excited during the silver squeeze movement, which was in the last couple of weeks or so of January, beginning of February. And I remember being on a panel on the Sunday night after I did my live stream with all the silver guys and Bill Murphy. And we're waiting for silver to open, and it opened. It went up to 30, and then it came back down. And people were excited. I was kind of excited, but I was trying to also say that we need patience because this is going to take a while. So I think I've been kind of proven right on that. But I think if Bank of America hadn't done what they've been doing since March, and I'm going to go through the numbers in a minute, and I've gotten these numbers from the Office of Controller of the Currency. I've gone through that page many times before to show people the derivatives positions. But for example, at the end of the first quarter of 2020, so around the end of March, Bank of America had 173 million derivatives position of what they call precious metals on the OCC report. And you might say, well, that could be gold as well. Well, it's not gold because the gold report is separate from the precious metals. And you could say, oh, it could be palladium and platinum. But I've looked at that. And if you, for example, look at the open interest of palladium and platinum on the CME or Comex, it doesn't really make a dent too much on the numbers coming up on the OCC. So I would say that, yes, Bank of America is precious metals position should be mostly silver. So with that, though, before I go and look at that, I'd like to give credit where it's due. Of course, the Morgan report, but also the story that, I'm going to share this. And I put this in the link of this live stream. So if people, once the live stream is finished and it's recorded, you'll be able to find the story there. So it's from Ted Butler from the 30th of December, more serious than I thought. I'm not going to go through the whole article, but this is where I got the idea to talk about this, because I hadn't realized that Bank of America had been increasing their silver position for in such a big way. They have almost as much short silver, or it could be long as well, but I would say it's short. Then they have the same kind of notional position as JP Morgan, a little less than JP Morgan. JP Morgan is around $27 billion. And Bank of America is right now around the latest figures. That's the thing. These figures are till the end of the third quarter, end of September 2021. I think I'm not sure until when we have to wait to get the end of 2021 figures from the OCC. I'm going to keep an eye on that. So yeah, give credit to Ted Butler. And the reason he wrote about that is one of the people who follows him sent him an email saying, I have an account with Merrill Lynch. And some of you might know Merrill Lynch was going to go bust in 2008, like all investment banks were going bust. And Bank of America took over them. And who do they make head of Merrill Lynch at Bank of America in 2008? Well, it was Brian Moynihan, who's the CEO and chairman right now of Bank of America. But the other thing I would say about the manipulation of silver, and someone might say, why do they need to keep silver manipulated? Well, I would say it's because silver is money. And I will prove it to you. And there's a lot of people around, still baby boomers, older than me in the States, who remember a silver dollar, or a $50 or a quarter and a dime. So I think silver is very important. And the lesson as well, I think we're winning. The silver stackers, the silver squeeze movement is winning. But a war sometimes lasts long. And I think we just need to keep stacking. So let's start looking here where I got all the data. And I've got some charts as well to show you. Let's have a look here. So I can give you this data, and this is where I got the data from, Office of the Controller of the Currency. I think this bureaucracy was created like in the 1860s, so it's an old governmental institution. You can see occ.gov. So they've got a quarterly report on bank trading and derivatives activities. So I'm going to show you this one here. This is the latest one. So we're going to open the PDF file here. I think I'm going to have to stop sharing with you and then share the PDF now. We're going to go to the PDF. Okay, here we go. And the silver position is usually on page 43. So we'll go to page 43, or maybe a little before 43 in this case. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So here it is. So notional amounts of derivative contracts, precious metals. And as I said earlier, gold isn't on another report. So this is silver, palladium, or platinum. But as I said, for example, the open interest on Comex for palladium and platinum would affect the position of Bank of America very slightly. So I would say that this is mostly silver here. So as you can see, they've got 8. This is in millions of dollars. So 18,266. That's $18.266 billion. And at the end of September 2021, end of the quarter, silver settled around 2216, 2220. So if you divide that by 2216, you get 824 million ounces of silver. That's what Bank of America is short by. Here's JP Morgan. They've got 27 billion. So they've almost caught up with JP Morgan. So that's where I got my data from. So now I'm going to go through the data with you, and then we're going to look at some charts. And then we're going to look, you can ask some questions as well, of course. So I wanted to go back like about 10 years just to show you that Bank of America has never really been active in the silver market or in the precious metals, which is silver, palladium, and platinum, but mostly silver, I would say. So I looked back here, 2011, and I looked at the fourth quarter numbers. They had just 260 million worth of silver, 2012, 30 million. But from 2013 to 2016, guess how much silver position they held at the end of the year in each of those years? Zero. And I'm not doing the 666 sign here. I'm just doing this as zero. I did that some months ago, and someone said, "Oh, are you a Satanist or something?" Just because I did that as a zero. So they had no positions. Fourth quarter 2017, they had 31 million. Fourth quarter 2018, sorry, they had zero. So they've never really been active in the silver market. 2019, they increased it to 148. And then at the end of the first quarter, so the end of March, they only had 173 million. So it's only in the second quarter that they started really going into the silver market. They had 2.768 billion buy. And then in the third quarter of 2020, $3.36 billion. Fourth quarter, 8.345. So I want to show you some charts. Well, just one chart to see, in my opinion, the fact that Bank of America started getting involved in silver was very significant, because if you look here by the fourth quarter, as I said, they had from, let's see, so in the third quarter, they had 3.364 billion notional position. And by the fourth quarter, by the beginning of the fourth quarter, which is here, let's see, fourth quarter, October. Well, by the end of the fourth quarter, by the end of the year, they had as you can see here, I'll zoom out, $8.345 billion. And yes, that kept silver from going above 30. And you can see there that actually in the first quarter of 2021, they did not increase their position from 8.345 because they were probably underwater, so they were scared of increasing their position. But that was when the silver squeeze movement was happening. That's when the CFTC and the major banks, I would say, worked to tamp down demand for silver. And then we go to to this year, 2021. And as I said, in the first quarter, they kept that position at roughly just over $8 billion. But by the second quarter, they had 10.2 billion. And then by the end of the third quarter, which is here, September, 30th September, they increased it. They almost doubled it to 18.266 billion. And look at what silver did then. So they were definitely trying to keep it down. As I said, we're going to have to wait up. I don't know when the OCC is going to publish the numbers for the fourth quarter. We will keep an eye on that. So the other thing I want to show you, if you do a monthly for this chart, right? This is monthly. This is what silver has been doing, really, is going sideways. But can you imagine if Bank of America hadn't written all these paper contracts in silver? Silver could be a lot higher. And we're going to come to another point I wanted to make is that, so this position they had until the end of September 2021, $18.266 billion, and you could maybe lower it a little bit because there could be a bit of platinum and palladium, but I don't think they're doing that. Well, that equated, as I said earlier, to 824 million troy ounces of silver. Total world production in 2020 for silver was 25,000 metric tons, which is 803 million troy ounces. So Bank of America, basically since March 2020 till September 2021, they've basically shorted or have a notional position of a whole year of silver production. Maybe that's why Jeff Christian said that there's so much silver out there. It's like the Niagara Falls. You get a bucket, but I think it's Bank of America more like it. And now we're going to go look a little bit at Bank of America and who's in charge there. So I've gone to their website. And I think you probably won't be shocked by this, but maybe you will. So there you go. Bank of America website, Brian Moynihan, chairman of the board, chief executive officer. So as I said, when Merrill Lynch was on the brink of collapse in the 2008 crisis, Bank of America took over this bank, and this guy was hired from another financial institution to run Merrill Lynch. And why do I mention Merrill Lynch? Well, because Merrill Lynch is probably the arm of Bank of America who's operating in the silver market. And who do I think they're operating for? I mean, I told you about the numbers that up until 2019, they weren't even in the silver market. And then all of a sudden, in the second quarter of 2020, they've added like 2.5 billion of positions in the paper market. And I think that's significant. I'm guessing the US government and the Fed asked the Bank of America to step up to the plate because they knew they're going to inflate the system and they needed to keep the barometer of inflation, silver. And I think silver is even more important than gold because silver leads the precious metals. So they had to keep it under pressure. But you look at this guy here. This is the interesting paragraph. Moynihan participates in several organizations that focus on economic and market trends. Is that to manipulate market trends, including the World Economic Forum's International Business Council? So he's the chairman there. The Financial Services Forum, the Bank Policy Institute, Business Roundtable, Clearinghouse chairman, American Heart Association, This is quite interesting here too. The Federal Advisory Council of the Federal Reserve Board. So he's involved with the World Economic Forum. He's involved with the Federal Reserve. And I would say he's closely involved with the White House as well. It doesn't matter what president is there. He's also a member of the Vatican Council for Inclusive Capitalism and co-chair of His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales Sustainable Markets Initiative. So this is the CEO of Bank of America, a total globalist. And I'm going to share I'm going to share the Wikipedia page for this guy. And I took the thumbnail for this live stream from the Wikipedia. It's in the public domain. So there he is again, Brian Moynihan. And this is what raised red flags for me, is this photo here, President Trump and Moynihan. And he's sitting right next to President Trump in March of 2020. March of 2020, as I said, well, it's the end of the first quarter. They almost had nothing in terms of silver position, 173 million. It might sound a lot, but compared to the 18 plus billion they have now, it's nothing. And then by the end of the second quarter, they had increased that position by 2.5 billion. So could he have been there meeting the president in public like that with the photos, and then gone and met the Secretary of the Treasury with the president to talk about the silver situation? It's possible. You see that he's very connected. He's a globalist as well, Moynihan. So I think I've spoken enough. I'm going to look at your questions now. I'm sorry if I went on and on, but I think it's important for us to keep stacking. I have to say that again, stacking silver and gold if possible. James Hafford, exactly how does the help BOA? Nice charts, but explain why they're doing this. But what are the mechanisms? They short, then buy physical. No, they don't buy any physical. They just short the market in the derivatives market. There's no physical involved. They're just trying to keep the price down. So, and that's why 2021 was a puzzle to a lot of people who are saying, we've had rising CPI, we've had all the other commodities rising, and gold and silver haven't done anything. And why is that? Well, I think they're a big part of it, Bank of America, with the fact that they increased their silver positions so much. And I think 18 billion tells me that they're doing this for the Fed and the government. And why do I say that? Well, I had a look at the top 10 silver miners in the world, and their market cap is 18 billion. So there's another thing that doesn't make sense. And as I said, physical mining every year is 800 million, and they just shorted 824 million, which is quite a lot. So that's why I say that. Who asked the question? James Hafford. So we've got Joker Alpha. Mara, I heard JP Morgan predicts a precious metal crash. Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I mean, most of the bullion banks, they always, they never want gold and silver to go up, because gold and silver is so important to the financial system, especially now with inflation and prices rising out of control. I saw they're calling for $1,500 gold. Well, good luck with that, I say. And of course, that stops silver from going up as well. DMC, I used your promo code for gold investments last week. I gave me nearly $14 discount, doing my bit, protecting savings at the same time. Oh, thank you for using gold investments. It helps. James Halford, why are they trying to keep the price of silver down? Explain. Well, because silver is and gold. And I think silver is more important because if silver had blown through 30 last year, it would have been at 50 very quickly and gold would have followed. They are barometers of monetary rectitude because they're sound money. uh, and but I think they're gonna lose that narrative that there's no inflation. They already had to admit it's not transitory. So that's why they keep the precious metals down, James, because it makes the dollar look bad. You see, here's a silver dollar. You see, the name dollar doesn't come from the Federal Reserve or a dollar bill. It comes from this silver, this weight of silver. So it goes back a few hundred years because silver is money. So if silver is trading $100, it doesn't look good for the Fed, and yeah, it disrupts everything. That's why they do it. The other thing I wanted to show you is what was happening last year when the silver squeeze movement started. And I think it was around January time. And what Bank of America was doing as well in terms of their share price. And you see here, so there we go. The silver squeeze movement started around in January, and silver went from 24 to 30 in a matter of weeks, 24 to 30. And here you have Bank of America. It dropped from around 34 to below 30 at the same time. It dropped over 10%. And also the other banks were dropping. So can you imagine if silver had blown through to 50? I think this chart would have looked a lot different. And that's why the CFTC came out. Goldman Sachs was wheeled out, was Jeff Curry saying, oh, there's no demand for silver, even though 110 million ounces were bought in 2 days, which was a record. And I'll show you the other banks. I'll show you this index, the KB, where is it? The KBW or KBW Bank Index, what it was doing around the same time. So the banking system, in my opinion, was in trouble at that time. I'm going to put it here and show it to you. So here we go. So that was middle of January last year. The KBW NASDAQ Bank Index was at 110. And by the beginning of March, just when the silver squeeze was happening, we dropped to 97. It wasn't looking good. And they had to make sure silver didn't go up because it raises red flags. And the huge positions that these banks have, silver goes up $10, $20. They're losing billions of dollars. So here's what happened in March of 2020. And you see, this is what happened then. It looks like a little blip, but I would say if they hadn't kept silver from going higher, this would have looked very different, the KBW Bank Index. And why is that? Well, because those derivative positions are highly leveraged. Super Seamster, I wish I could understand those charts. I just stack as much as I can afford. Unfortunately, I haven't bought any silver for almost 2 months. Yeah, what I was trying to say is that when Bank of America increased their silver shorts, it was a time when silver was correcting down. And the other thing I would note, they went from doing no silver to almost catching up with JP Morgan. I think JP Morgan is done too much. So They had to go to Bank of America and say, you guys have to pitch in. You have to start doing some. It's gonna, because I think it's because of us as well, exposing the fact that JP Morgan was doing a lot of the stuff. And so someone else had to come up to the bat. So it was Bank of America, which is basically one of the biggest banks in the US. And you would think, why would a bank get involved in the silver market? And it's not because they're doing that for silver miners, because as I showed you, they've got a position that's the same position, it's kind of the same size of the 10 biggest silver miners. And it doesn't make sense, right? It's because it's so important to the system, silver. James Hafford again. Why are they trying to keep the price down? I told you already, James. Listen, it's because silver and gold are very important to the monetary system. Aside from them maybe trying to make a profit, they're working for the government and the Fed, because they own the Fed, the banks. So they have to keep this charade going to make the dollar look better than it is, to keep interest rates low. Because if you have silver at $30-50 and gold at $3,000, you can bet the 10-year yield is not going to be at 1.5%. That's why they do it. They've been doing it for decades, the gold and silver manipulation, James. So anyway. Yeah, Lance Owen says they want to prevent a bank run like in 1980 because of inflation. That's right. The last time the dollar almost collapsed was when silver went from $7 to $50. That was from 1977 to 1980. The US Treasury had to issue a Deutschmark and Swiss franc bonds. We are in the same situation. I think 2022 could be the beginning where silver breaks out and gold goes along as well, because I think silver always leads the way. John Norris says a kilo of silver would be difficult to barter or transact. I'm not sure why it would be difficult. It depends on what you're exchanging it for. But you can get like a silver dime pre-65. I mean, that's tiny. That's different. That's quite easy to barter. Or a silver quarter, 90%. Lord Humongous says the Hunt brothers silver squeeze. Yeah, it wasn't just the Hunt brothers. I think they were a front for other people, even though the Hunt brothers actually they started buying silver futures and taking delivery in the early 70s. In 1971, when Nixon closed the gold window, they couldn't buy gold, so until 75, so they bought silver. Pad says silver has been manipulated since the early 1800s. You're probably right. Yeah, the currencies and the metals have been manipulated for a long time. Joker Alpha, does this mean the banks can spoof gold and silver forever? Well, I showed you the charts. This is more than just spoofing. Spoofing is something that is short term, when they try to trigger selling in the markets in the short term. But when you build a position that's more than the whole year of silver production, it affects the paper price. But I would say that physical demand for coins and bars from retail is higher than ever. I mean, Andy Schechtman from Miles Franklin said the last 2 years have been the best years in the business for him. He's doing massive amount of business, and it doesn't make sense that there's so much demand for real silver, but the paper price, because the numbers I talked to you about, they're not real silver. They are derivatives. They are bets on silver. They're just contracts. And I would argue that's why the price of silver has stayed down so much. But the problem these banks have now, they have like more than 2 years silver production position derivatives. And I think I'm not going to stop stacking. I don't think anyone that's been stacking for the last year is going to stop stacking silver, and they're eventually going to run out because what they're doing is price fixing. And we know that price fixing or price controls, they work for a while, but eventually they create shortages. And that's what they're doing. They're creating shortages of silver. We saw last week, there was a professor from the University of Massachusetts that said that the Biden administration should institute price controls to stop inflation. But we know that it creates shortages and then higher prices. So the same thing is going to happen to silver and gold, because they are commodities to, albeit monetary commodities, silver, monetary and industrial. And yeah, the game's going to stop one day. And if they could control this forever, silver would still be at $1.29, which was the level prior to 71, and gold would be at $35. Lily Robbins says they put the 5G towers all around Denver starting in March 2020. Yeah, when we were in lockdown, they did the same thing here, I think. RB, Happy New Year to you as well. 35 ounces, a kilo. No, the 1 kilo is 32.15 troy ounces. Crazy truth. You got to be careful because the troy ounce is 31.1035 grams, and the normal ounce is 28 grams. Kazanana 8. Well, yeah, the LBMA should be subject to Basel III from January 1st, 2022. It doesn't mean that the bullion banks in the city of London and that deal in the LBMA will go along with it, and it might cost them. But we'll have to see. We're going to find out soon because we're going to start trading in about half an hour or an hour and a half, sorry. And tomorrow, though, is a bank holiday here in the UK. So I would say that we'd have to wait to see what's really going on the LBMA till Tuesday. But I think something could happen. Who knows? Yeah, that's right, Liliana Odom, 32.15075. Over here says, this video gives you good enough reason to continue stacking silver. I think so too, because as I said, from June, from like the end of March 2020 to September last year, it looks like it looks like Bank of America is built a position of 1 year of silver mining. And silver still, the technical picture for silver still looks pretty good. It didn't collapse, so it just goes to show that there's so much physical demand for silver last year that if they hadn't done what they did, silver would probably be a lot higher, gold as well. But at least it gave us some more time to stack, even though the premiums are still really high, right? And that's why the premiums are really high, is because this paper price is purely artificial and it won't last forever, in my opinion. And B, thank you for your super chat. How many of these contracts are stuffed into retail, institutional, hedge funds, and mutual funds? Bankers play both sides. I would say It's not retail because from my notes, as I said, looking back to 2011, Bank of America was never, or Merrill Lynch, they were never involved in the silver market. Could it be institutional? Maybe. I would say it's more central bank and government. I think they are doing this for the US government. And yeah, that's how I see it. Yeah, the bankers do play both sides, but if you look at the commitment of trader reports, the biggest shorts are always the commercial banks or the bullion banks. Steve Kretcher, what happened to Basel III? Well, Basel III is a set of rules for the too big to fail banks, and it involves gold and silver and commodities, and it involves many other things as well. But I think from July last year, most international banks adopted Basel III for gold and commodities. But LBMA London is only going to adopt Basel III from the beginning of 2022. So I've made quite a lot of videos about Basel III last year because everyone was asking about it. I've looked into it, and I said the reason to accumulate and stack gold and silver is not because of Basel III, but because the fundamentals for gold and silver are they've never been better, and they're only getting better. We've got real interest rates or real yields at like minus 5%. We've got the national debt is going to blow through 30 trillion this year, probably. We've got the central banks cornered. They can't really raise rates that much. They're talking about tapering, but no. And we've got the economy slowing down. So I see more and more stimulus. Yeah, Basel III could give precious metals a lift, but I'm not counting on it. Unless you're a trader, you want to, and some of you might want to trade gold and silver, but I don't. The only paper position I have is the miners, gold and silver miners. Scott 49-140, are precious metals from other countries worth having since they're not legal tender plus having capital gains? In the UK, coins of the realm are legal tender. I'm not sure. I don't think, I'm not sure how it works in the US. If the constitutional silver, I don't think it's legal tender anymore. Maybe it could be in some states, but precious metals, they're the same everywhere, but you need to do your own homework about the rules and the taxation and everything. But yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter from what country it is, but because always gold and silver. Nicholas Nasty, who's buying from the shorts? Oh, it's probably the hedge funds. The also the mutual funds and also the ETFs. They're probably getting involved. They do it through the ETFs. And the point is as well is that Bank of America was never in the silver market, but somehow for some reason they've gotten involved in a massive way. And I think that, yeah, that points to me that they had a big hand in suppressing the silver price for the last 18 months. Joker Alpha, do you have a Black Swan event for 2022? I don't. I don't have a 20. Well, if I had to have one, it would be that the health crisis we've had would unravel, and we would see the fall of the West, a bit like the Soviet Union in 1991. So the collapse of the Anglo-American Empire, that would be a black swan. that I wouldn't mind seeing. It wouldn't be pretty, but it would be interesting and unexpected, I would say. Nicholas Nasty, who's taking the losses? Well, the people who have been long silver, of course. But if you look at the charts, you know, since 2019, silver's we've been like in a range between, well, since 2020, we've been in a range since between like 20 and 30. And right now we're at 23. So I think they're probably making some money on that short position. But the whole point is not about profit. The whole point is about keeping the fiat currency scam going, especially when they're creating so much reserves and when they're inflating so much, when inflation or CPI is going up by 6.2%. They need to keep the precious metals prices down. So it's almost, it's not even relevant. And I don't even think Bank of America is doing that for themselves. As I said, they're doing for a big client. And I suspect that big client is the government. And Ted Butler doesn't think the government would do that. And he says, why would they publish in the OCC? Well, because these people like to, they like to show people what they're doing, because even though they're psychopaths, they like to put it out there in plain sight. Yeah, so there you go. I think it's for the US government. Yeah, James, they might be getting physical as well by doing that, but I would say the Fed and the Treasury are all working together. Silver Task says I've got 379 likes. That's good. Let's see how many concurrent viewers. 991 viewers right now, which is pretty good. 991. I guess if you are watching and you like it, make sure you hit the like button. Echo, echo. If silver did shoot up, how long a window of opportunity to sell would we have before the bank writes a huge contract at a cheap price? The thing is, we know now where the line in the sand is for the banks. If we go over 30 or 33, as John Perez said, they'll have to buy back the shorts. They'll have to buy it to neutralize the position, and they might even go long. So if I guess if you're a trader, maybe, you know, it depends where you want to sell, but as a stacker, I don't really care because I'm holding it for the future, for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've been stacking silver since 2003. So I'm holding on and adding on. Lyle Budd, thank you for your super chat. Great show. Oregon prepping for the hyperinflation ahead. I stack silver, baby. That's not a bad idea, Lyle Budd. Rafi Faber, who comes on my live stream once in a while, and I should have him soon. He did a great video on his YouTube channel, Rafi Faber, and he spoke about how it's like a tail. Sorry, it's like a dog, going after his tail, trying to bite his tail and going round and round. That's what's happening. You've got consumers trying to get ahead the price rises. You've got producers. You've got the wholesalers, retail, the corporations, and you've got now people who are saying that the government has to help, that the government has to give more money, more stimulus. But all that will do is create even more inflation. Yeah, so I think we're right in the beginning. Johan Borchers and friends, did you sell your silver stocks or you held them at a huge loss for the year? Uh, I've been adding to my gold and silver positions. I've been earning dividends, buying more shares. Um, a huge loss. Well, it's only a loss when you liquidate the position. Yes, my position right now is down for the for since I started buying the gold and silver miners. No, but I'm not liquidating it, and I think they did really well on the last day of the year. They rallied, and yeah, I think they are the best value, relative value versus the general stock market, gold and silver miners, and also other commodities. Someone's saying here, what is it? Is it about Prince Andrew? Someone said, I bet Prince Andrew is sweating. I thought he didn't sweat, though. Didn't he say he didn't sweat? Paul Choi. Well, who's on the other side of the shorts? I don't know, but it's probably the speculators, the other people, the hedge funds, some people, some big investors who don't really want to have physical silver. They just want to bet on the price. Those are the other side of the short position. Jeff McClendon, yeah, I've got some Newmont. Yeah, the Newmont chart looks very good, I would say. It's got like a big head and big teacup forming from the last few years. The Newmont. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you. No, I didn't need to show you that. So I'll continue with the questions now. Prince Andrew was at Pizza Hut. Oh, apparently no one's come out to say that they saw him there. I think he's in trouble, but anyway. Biggest silver miner. I just had that here on my I'll tell you what it is. Largest silver mining companies, Pan American Silver. I'll share the because I looked at this page because I added up the top 10 silver miners, and their market cap is 18, just over 18 billion, which is the size of Bank of America's position in silver. So Pan American Silver, the biggest silver miner. First Majestic is the second. Hecla Mining, MAG Silver, Kerr Mining. It used to be called Coeur d'Alene, Kerr Mining from Idaho, Silvercrest. So there you go. Okay. JM, how many more banks like Bank of America does the Fed have up their sleeves that they can use for this? Well, right now, the three banks that they're using, Citibank has got about 9 billion of silver positions. JP Morgan, 27 billion, Bank of America, 18 billion. Goldman Sachs, they're not using Goldman Sachs, but that's about it. Those are the main banks. They might start using Goldman Sachs, who knows? Or increase the Citibank position, Citigroup. Shannon Wright, love your show, Mario. Thanks for your insightful contrarian views. Wishing you a successful, healthy 2022. Thank you. The same for you. Thank you. Paul Choi, talking about the 650 billion SDR. Well, that's been allocated to all the countries that have in the IMF. I don't know what they're doing. I think some of the emerging market countries are actually buying gold with it, because we saw Brazil last year. Brazil bought like 60, they increased their gold holdings by 62%. So they might be buying gold, actually, I would say, with those SDR allocations. John Norris, price of silver is irrelevant. It's important is to preserve value. I agree with you. And when things hit the fan in terms of hyperinflation, you'll have to keep track of what silver purchases, and you probably won't want to exchange it for paper because it'll be too valuable. You might want to exchange it for I don't know, for some something that you need to survive, some food or petrol or gasoline, whatever is like valuable that you need to survive, and you're gonna have to keep track of and like Arpad from Star Path Academy said, in a highly inflationary, a high inflation, close to hyperinflation environment, purchasing power of things change massively, even gold and silver. Yeah, so I agree with you. Requires, do you own gold jewelry? Well, I've got my wedding ring, which is white gold. My wife has the jewelry, not me. So there you go. Lily Robin talking about her sister-in-law and the booster. I guess we can read that. Let's have a look. 3 days ago, awake and talking, but no memory. They gave her MRI and said she didn't have any clots, but I told her to get D-dimer test. Oh, that gold disc, James, that's a paperweight. It's not really gold. It's a paperweight. It's a Krugerrand coin paperweight. Golden, the guys at Golden Investments, they have quite a few of those. I think they cost about 30 pounds. It's a paperweight. It looks like a Krugerrand. It's not real gold though. Silver price prediction for 2022. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not really concerned about what the silver price does, but and it's always difficult to predict, where things are going to be. But I have a feeling it's going to be, we're going to trade above 30. It's going to be above 30 at the end of this year, even though the bullion banks think gold is going to 1500. If gold goes to 1500, silver is going to be about $17. But you still won't be able to find silver for $17. You're probably going to have to still pay $30 for it in the real world. We got a few minutes left. 3 minutes to the end. Johnny Boy Silver, why don't the miners hold production, force the price up? Well, because they're in the business of earning fiat currency. I guess First Majestic is starting to hold some production, but a lot of these companies, they've got shareholders and they want dividends. And if they keep their silver, they don't have any earnings. That's why. But they should try to keep some. I agree with you. And they should try to deal with directly with the precious metals dealers and not the banks. $500 likes. That's better than 300 odd likes. How's Billy? Oh, Billy's doing well. Unfortunately, he's lost his sight, but we walk twice a day. His appetite is great. And yeah, it's sad, but he's going to be 14 this year in July. Nick Gata says, please do a video on the spiritual aspects of silver. Well, and I think the important thing about gold and silver is that they're in our DNA, really, human beings' DNA. I mean, silver in many languages means money, and I think they hold their value. And I don't think gold and silver are going to be any more special in a year or two. What's going to happen is that the currency system that we're under is going to implode, and people are going to realize how important or how crappy the currencies we have is, and gold and silver are going to look great, and that's why I keep stacking. And I'm not trying to tell people they should put everything in gold and silver, even though I've tried to do as much as possible, but just to have some as insurance for a rainy day, because it's savings. Bitcoinist, can you give a tour of all the books you have on your shelves, Mara? That would be awesome. I'm sure you have some great titles. P.S. I lost my dog recently. He was old, 14 years too. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I do think I have if you go on my YouTube channel, I've done quite a few book reviews. I even did a live stream with books, but maybe I should do another one soon. People like that. I know Chris Dwayne, Super Seamster, but I haven't seen him around that much. Don't know if he's still on YouTube. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for showing up. And I wish you all a happy new year again. And yeah, patience, I think, is always important. But yeah, I mean, if if you know what's going on in terms of the system, I think it would be remiss of people not to try to stack some gold and silver. But there you go. That's the way I feel. You need to do your homework. And just to let you know, if you want to look into those OCC numbers, I put a link to it below in the description for the OCC derivatives report. And usually the precious metal report, which is where the silver is around page 40 or 43. So if you type 43 on the PDF and go there, you might have to scroll up or down a little bit and you find that. All right. Take care, everyone, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.